Welcome back to Cardcore. Today we are doing something different. I'm trying to expand my videos and my content, do stuff outside of just reviews. Today's video is what my island brick would be. I'm sure you've heard this before if you are on a desert island. What are your top 10 bands? If you could only listen to 10 bands on the island, what would it be? What would your top 10 albums be? What would your top 10 movies be? So today, if I could only bring one brick of playing cards to a desert island that I would stay on until I died, what would be in my brick? Got the brick right here. We're gonna go over the decks, no particular order, and these are decks that I own. Decks that I own, decks that I've opened, decks that I've used. For my first deck, I'm actually gonna start with the outlier in this collection. A very heavily underrated deck of cards in my opinion. We're gonna start with the Jack Sellers Blackjack edition from Theory 11. I gotta say, this is probably the only Theory 11 deck that I currently use nowadays, and it's from one of their classic lines, the Jack Sellers playing cards. I think they put the Jack Sellers out before they even put out the Monarchs. But yeah, this is a very classy deck of cards. It's in collaboration with a wine company, Jack Sellers. Honestly, I just love the back design. It's very reminiscent of classic vintage playing cards. To me, they resemble a deck of Absolute Vodkas. I also really love the sharp pip style that they use, as well as the really big face cards, and just the amount of detail that went into the face cards and the pips. It's very stylized. There are several editions of the Jack Sellers playing cards, but you can't go wrong with a really cool black edition. And I do think the black edition of the Jack Sellers is the strongest deck in the line. And of course, outside of style and design, these cards handle amazingly. There's some classic USPC playing cards. That's gonna be the case for a lot of these decks. Not only do they look really cool, but they feel really great and they handle wonderfully. Up next on the list is a classic. We have the Black Anyone OG logo deck. I have absolutely destroyed this deck of cards. This is probably the simplest deck on this list. It's probably the most minimalist deck on this list, but that's exactly why I chose it. Sometimes you don't want all the bells and whistles. You want something as plain and simple as possible to really complement your cardistry, and this deck does that wonderfully. Like I said, it's a classic. It just has the Anyone logo. It's black. We have some completely standard face cards, and genuinely, this is one of the best handling decks of cards I've ever opened. Just something about them feels like magic. As you can see, I have run this deck into the ground. They've even somehow survived water damage, but they still handle great, even though it looks like I threw them into a river. Next on our list, the Heath V2 green edition of the Heathback playing cards. I know, not the Heathback playing cards that you would expect. I do have the red edition, but specifically the green edition has a soft spot in my heart. It is the first deck of Heath playing cards that I was able to buy. And on top of that, I also just really love Leonard Green. And these are the Leonard Green editions. I remember watching Magic videos of Leonard Green on YouTube when I was a kid, and I just loved his weird, sloppy style. It really blew my mind. And this was just kind of a collaboration made in heaven for me. Just like with the first edition, we get these really gritty, blotchy looking pips. We of course also get the grainy, cool jokers that look like they were almost ink stamped onto some blank playing cards. Get the same weird bug extra art card in there, and the green is just striking. I love me a red deck of cards, but something about the green just really does it for me. Next on the list are the Tic-Tac-Toe playing cards by Mano Santa. This is an incredible deck of cards. This might be in my top 5 deck of cards of all time. First of all, the box is incredible. It's got the cool Mano Santa logos on top of the flap. It's got a black and white version of the back design on the back of the tuck box. Big, bold, white letters, tic-tac-toe right on the front. Again, X and an O on the flaps inside the tuck box as well. And just look at that back design. So really tasty cream color, very simple back design, X's and O's across the map. with one single plus in the center of the deck. We get some really cool flipped colored pips. All of the traditionally black pips are now red and all the red pips are now black, which I'm a huge sucker for. I love any kind of different pip colorway, especially when it's just basic and it's flipped like this. The court cards are also particularly stylish, but not in a super complicated way. They change the colors of the clothing quite tastefully, and we get some cool X's and O's throughout the clothes as well. On top of that, we get this really cool, kind of like a Polaroid picture that's like this phased looking picture with the face all distorted in black and white. It's a really cool extra card. And of course, the Jokers are beautiful. We get these stunning roses and these little stars in the corner of the card. Through and through, the style and aesthetic of this deck is just really classy and beautiful. Of course, like all the other decks, they handle incredibly well. Through and through, this is one of my favorite decks of all time. Next up, we have the Fontaine Braindead V2 edition. This was a collaboration with the company Braindead, specifically the second deck of cards. They put this out specifically for Black Lives Matter, donating either a portion or all of the proceeds to Black Lives Matter. The tuck box is really cool. It's a really sleek black matte tuck box. It has the Braindead logo in this white and silver on the front of the tuck box. It has the back design completely blown up on the back of the tuck box as well. Speaking of back design, I love this back design. The Braindead logo is just really cool looking, and it's a really bold one-way back design. It really sticks out a lot. Even in motion, it's really easy to track these cards. Of course, the really gritty black and white aesthetic of the back design as well is really appealing to me specifically. I love the rough marks throughout the lines of the actual Braindead logo, as if it has like tire marks on it. And then we also get this really cool staticky design throughout the rest of the card, making up the borders. Get this unique blocky kind of font for the number cards. And I also really like the style of the pips. And of course, all of the face cards and the Jokers feature these really weird abstract pieces of art. They're almost Picasso-esque, kind of mixed with like germs. They look like germs, dude. Germs and bugs. It's a really cool, interesting art style for this deck. Next up on the list, we have a deck of Becky playing cards by Goose. This is probably Goose's most infamous deck of playing cards, probably their most classic deck of cards. The tuck box is great. It features all these clouds, really big, bold white letters that says Becky. And of course, on the back of the tuck box, we get a big circle picture of Becky right there. It also features a really fun egg sticker. And of course, the back design is just amazing. This is a really fun back design. It's just a goose. It's just a goose, but it's a one-way back design. The goose is front and center. And on top of that, the background, the clouds behind Becky, change throughout the playing cards. We also obviously get the shiny golden egg playing card, which is really fun. And also throughout the court cards and some of the number cards, we get that really cool sunset sky design bleeding through the pips, bleeding through the court cards. Really cool contrast, especially cards like the Six of Hearts, where we have the red pips and then one heart with this blue background and a cloud running through it. Of course, we also get a big old card that says Becky with this sky design going through it. Overall, it's a really cool looking deck. It's a really fun looking deck. Next up, we have the original What the Fly deck from YGH. Now, they did release a V2 of these playing cards, but in my mind, you really can't beat the V1s. The blue wings are just so vibrant. They're so pretty. And of course, these are also printed by USPC, so they feel better as well. The deck is just front to back, these beautiful butterfly wings. And as you can imagine, it can really make for some elegant, beautiful cardistry. That's the number one word I use to describe this deck is elegant. It just looks gorgeous. It's definitely one of the prettiest decks of cards that I own. Next up, we have another Fontaine deck, and that deck would be the Kogan Cult Fontaines. This was a collaboration deck between Fontaine and a rapper, I believe, named Kogan. First of all, the customization on this deck is incredible. Starting with the tuck box, all of the design you see was drawn by Kogan. You get this really bizarre looking, almost Cyclops, like from X-Men, design on the front of the tuck box. All in the background, we get this cool brick design. And this is also an animated deck. This might actually be the first animated deck that I ever bought. As you flip through the cards, this really cool white and blue fire moves throughout the background of the Fontaine Fs, creating the words Kogan throughout it, with that brick design in the background as well. It's a really cool and unique looking back design. And I love how much the white flames really stick out. And on top of that, we get some really cool designs throughout the court cards and the number cards. We get these very comic book style drawings. It literally looks like they gave Kogan a bunch of colored pens and just let him doodle all over this deck of cards. I love decks that feature hand-drawn elements to it, and this is possibly one of the coolest ones that I own. Next up, a more recent release, we have the Kiss playing cards by Anyone Worldwide. Nothing too special about this tuck box. It is a cool matte tuck box with kind of a really blown up version of some lipstick marks all over it. It does feature a really cool Kiss sticker on the tuck box, but the main attraction, of course, is the back design. Every single card is different, all featuring a bunch of Kiss marks all over this deck. It literally looks like somebody applied some heavy lipstick and just smooched this deck of cards all over. You cannot beat a vibe like this, my guy. They're just cool looking. Feel like I want to wear a leather jacket when I use these playing cards, dude. They're just slick. They're just aesthetically cool. They're cheeky. We get standard face cards when it comes to this deck, but honestly, I believe that lends itself to this deck. The back design is so busy and so moving and so vibrant with all the red lipstick that seeing normal face cards really helps even out the visuals when you're using it for cardistry. Next up, we have the Hereafter playing cards by Heath. Obviously, the front of the tuck box, kind of chaotic, kind of crazy, but that's not why I love this deck. I mainly love this deck for the back design. What's the back design? Who knows, dude? It's kind of up to you to decide. It looks almost brainy, like a brainy little maze. But of course, it's in a really cool, gritty black and white colorway. As you can tell, one of my favorite types of looks for a deck of cards. This and the Brain Dead V2 are kind of like cousins. It also has some really cool artwork throughout the deck. All of the face cards are custom. This is another deck that looks very much like they just handed somebody a blank deck of cards and they went to town on it with a pen. I love the mix of straight up bizarre and weird cartoony looking designs, as well as the really cool gritty designs, as well as the designs that kind of have like a more classic feel to them, almost like 1950s-esque, with this couple on the King of Hearts kissing, or the person in the Queen of Diamonds. The Ace of Spades feature a sketched out skull. Come on, dude. That looks sick. We even get a card in the Queen of Spades that seemingly is just a bunch of pen marks. All in all, it's an incredibly unique deck of cards with some really cool artwork throughout it, and it just looks really great. Next, we have the Fontaine Oops All Jokers playing cards. These were part of the Fantasies Mystery Style release. These were on the rare side of pulls that you can get. I literally only have one of them. They're one of 1,500, and in my opinion, possibly the coolest deck of cards that Fontaine has ever made. I'm a huge fan of jesters, bro. I love old school jokers. I really love like medieval style gestures. It just really hits. Of course, the Oops All Jokers is a play on 90s cereal boxes when they introduced like the Oops All Berries cereal. Zach is very much reminiscent and a fan of 90s aesthetics. The front of the tuck box features a really cool design of a jester just breaking through the tuck box. The back design is incredible. First of all, it's insanely vibrant. It's a very bright back design, featuring a light red and purple contrasting diamond. Obviously, it's supposed to mimic the patterns in Jester's clothing. And as the title suggests, every single playing card is a joker. And every single joker is different. And every single different joker feels like it has its own unique style. We go through all of them. We get really classic looking jokers, as if we pulled it from a deck of cards from the 20s. We get those medieval style of joker that I was talking about as well. We get some jokers that look like they can be from the 80s, from the 70s, from the 90s, from a cartoon, from a comic book. We get some silhouette jokers. We get some pretty surreal looking jokers. Bro, we even get edgy 2000s core jokers. This looks like it would be on a t-shirt I would wear in middle school. Insane deck of cards, insane. I can't even tell you which part is my favorite. Honestly, it might even be the back design. The back design itself, I think, is incredible. It really stands out. It really provides a lot of motion with your cardistry. But the really cool jokers is just icing on top of the cake. Last but certainly not least, one of my favorite decks of all time would be the Missing Ink playing cards. This with the tic-tac-toe might honestly also be in my top 5 cards of all time. Like I said, I love my gritty aesthetic, and this is one of my favorite decks that pulls that off. The tuck box is minimal in Missing style. We only get hints of the design throughout the sides of the tuck box. But the back design is one of my favorite back designs of all time. If you look closely, it says Missing in graffiti style text with a really drippy black kind of spray paint effect on these cards and a really cool dark red background. The design even peeks out through the borders, giving you really cool fans with these kind of streaks and dots throughout it. And of course, the best part of this deck, in my opinion, is the drip effect that they get throughout all these cards, looking like they spray painted these cards on themselves. The streaks of red and black are just incredible. It looks like you didn't let this deck fully set to dry. The blotchy squares of back design throughout the pips are really cool. And on top of that, we get all red pips, which is just baller, dude. It's hands down my favorite Missing deck of all time, and again, probably in my top 5 favorite decks of all time as well. There you have it. There is my Desert Island Brick, at least my first draft. I have a lot of playing cards. This was actually quite difficult to think about, but I wanted a good variety of decks. I think I achieved that. Comment down below, let me know what's your Desert Island Brick, or if you don't want to do a whole 12, what's your top 5? Let me know if you liked this video, by the way, as well. Let me know if you'd want a part 2. I have plenty of other decks of cards. If God granted me a second brick on this island, I can make another brick quite easily. As always, make sure you like this video, subscribe, and hit that bell button. I will see you on the next one.